Recording in progress.
Welcome in the latest episode of the Bet and Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Real_G Warner. Tonight, we are going through England, Spain, Italy, and Germany. A little bit different with the FA Cup taking over in England. We have Spain, a pretty short Spanish La Liga card because there's not a ton of action with the bigger clubs as the Supercopa de España is going on in, I believe, Saudi Arabia. Also, we have the German Bundesliga and no French I guess because the French Super Cup happened this week. There's nothing in France. So it's going to be a little bit abbreviated of an episode. We're 15-9-2, 63% year to date. There'll be best bet end of show, picking my favorite from each of the leagues. So let's get into it without further ado. We'll start in the FA Cup, which I'll pick and choose. I'm probably going to dive a lot deeper into this after this podcast. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to do so beforehand, but there's a few matchups of, to me, bad draws of putting two Premier League teams together, but c'est la vie. We'll start with Everton. They are home to Sunderland at a 6:15 Central Time, early start on Saturday morning here in the United States and Texas specifically. Everton, a quarter goal favorite with all the juice right now. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's used very heavily to under. So why is this the case? The Everton home record has been really good. I don't know necessarily if they can keep that up forever. The defense, I think, is very solid, and I've loved backing them and David Moyes specifically for a very, very long time. I just don't know if this can continue forever offensively because they've had a really good run of results. They've been playing really good football. I think biggest interest for me is the under in this matchup, especially considering how early it is. Now, my question is, Sunderland, of course, trying to stay in the league. Everton now looking up towards European positions. We'll see what that ends up looking like. But I think at this point for me, it is the underdog, which I don't really know what that lineup's going to look like or nothing. And so it probably means not a lot for me to do on the underdog. We'll move next to another big game on the list, also on Saturday, and that is Newcastle. They are hosting Bournemouth. Currently, price on this one is... Let's scroll down to it. Newcastle 3/4 goal favorites. All the juice on Bournemouth right now. So you might see this fall down to half of a goal. I'm not necessarily sure how much I want to do with Bournemouth. Another thing where you'd think the home team is a lot more interested, but you never truly know with cup games, cup ties, and things of that nature. Newcastle are a great home team. They're not one I generally want to fade while they're playing at St. James's Park. But Bournemouth are one of those teams that I really like. They played really well to start this season, played really well last season. Kind of surprised they didn't make it to Europe overall. Have a manager who I love and I want to back and has made me plenty of money. And all of our subscribers, patreon.com/Real_G Warner, and across all the various social media platforms as well at the Real_G Warner. But I'm going to wait to see this one climb. It's bigger than I made it. So I'll look to see what this lineup looks like for Bournemouth at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. Move next to 11:45 a.m. Central. Tottenham, they are a pick'em at home to Aston Villa. All the juice on Tottenham right now looks like total is 2.5, and it's juiced pretty heavily to over. I'm certainly leaning under in this one. I'm guessing we'll get plenty of backups in this one, especially from Tottenham, as they always love to give their really poor backup goalkeeper some time. For that reason, I think I'm certainly also looking forward to an Aston Villa play if we could potentially find one. I don't know that we'll get one necessarily. I generally don't play road teams unless they get a quarter of a goal underdog. And I think once we see Kinski starting for Tottenham, we probably won't see that. And that does limit my interest in under just a tad. Now we'll move to Sunday. We have West Ham United, not against Premier League side, but against QPR, which I think is a rivalry in England. So West Ham United currently a 1-goal favorite to QPR. A lot of juice on the QPR side. Looks like we're dealing 30 cents right now at BetOnline, which I don't love also. As for the total in this one, 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to over. I'd love to see, I'm not really expecting a ton from QPR offensively, so that makes me point toward under. The big question is, can they defend West Ham? And that's certainly yet to be seen on a Premier League level, to say the least. We'll move next to, let's find it as I scroll and frantically try to get somewhere down to the next game that we can certainly get into. Let's see where I can find that one. Let's see. Next big game on the list is Manchester United hosting Brighton. Currently, Manchester United a half of a goal favorite right now with a ton of juice, -126 to the -104 of Brighton Hove Albion. Certainly not getting English Premier League numbers here. We'll only do 16 cents of juice at BetOnline. Total this one's 2.5. 2 3/4, and it's juice maniacally high. Probably going to see a 3. And every Manchester United game I lean under. I feel like they have too many defenders on the pitch. And what that might actually help them do is defend Brighton and keep them scoring goals here. But I'm not sure that's really worth it. And that's actually the last game I'm going to cover on the FA Cup portion of the show. And then we'll move, of course, to Spain next. But I got to pick a best bet. My biggest interest from the Premier League, or I guess the England portion of this show. I really like, I've been playing unders for a long time. As anyone who listens to this podcast knows, I've been doing them a long time with Everton. And I feel like we see another tight game, 2 really good defensive teams with defensive managers that have a clue what they're doing. So for my best bet nominee for the ultimate best bet portion coming in the show, I'm going to go with Everton and Sunderland under 2.25 goals. So now move to Spain. Let's get on over there. We'll start on Saturday with the early matchup, Real Oviedo hosting Real Betis. Currently, we have Oviedo, a half of a goal underdog at home, 4 cents more juice on the home team. Total in this one is 2.25, and it is used very heavily to over. And it probably should be, just based on how Real Betis want to play their football matches. They're a good goal-scoring team. They're really talented. Oviedo haven't scored goals this entire season. Newly promoted side that almost closed, had to get a cash infusion from like pretty much online crowdfunding or something like that, led by Sid Lowe, and as a Spanish La Liga or just Spanish football journalist. That worked out fairly well, I would say, but I think they're going down. I'm not really that into this one. I'm not really sure I got much that I want to do with that one either. Move next to Alaves, 1-goal underdogs on the road at Villarreal. I don't think that this Villarreal strategy of being very conservative is going to last or work. It will last, because they have a very conservative manager. I just don't know necessarily that I believe it's the best thing to do, especially against an Alaves team that's going to play defensively and try to keep them from scoring. For that reason, the 1 is exactly what I made it. So I don't know that I see a ton of value on the side, but like under 2.5 in that matchup. Move next to Girona hosting Osasuna. Currently Girona 1/4 goal favorites right now. All the juice on Osasuna away. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's used very heavily to over. So that's a little bit of a surprise to me, but I think it reflects just, I don't know, 2 sides that want to score goals that just can't do it. Girona's defense has been problematic. Their goalkeeper's got some big mistakes on his level or on his ledger, and I wonder if there potentially might be some movement over there. But I think biggest interest for me is still fading an Osasuna favorite. I don't know that a 1/4 goal with a lot of juice is really worth it. Girona at home, Osasuna on the road. Osasuna, I just don't trust them to score goals is the biggest thing. So I think under 2.25 is my biggest interest, especially after getting the home field advantage wrong. To the last matchup on Saturday, Valencia hosting Elche. Currently Valencia 1/4 goal favorites right now with almost all the juice. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's juiced pretty heavily to the over right now, which I think reflects how open and aggressive Elche want to be and that they play football as newly promoted. But we haven't seen Valencia score at all this season, at all for years. I'm very interested in the road team here, that they're going to play some football. They're going to believe in themselves. And I think Valencia's confidence is certainly all over the place at this point. So give me Elche. I'm interested in their 1/4 goal underdog. A little bit interested in under, though they certainly want to play with football. And that's not exactly where I'd like a road team to be. Moving to Sunday, the early matchup, we have Rayo Vallecano hosting Mallorca. Currently Rayo a half of a goal favorite right now. Juice is split both ways, so no real indicator but where this one will close. Total is 2, and it's used very heavily to over. I don't really see goals in this matchup. Rayo are a defensive team, and they're a favorite here, so that's not really a great setup for scoring goals. So under 2 is my biggest interest in that matchup, the early one on Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Central Time here in the United States. Levante then hosts Espanyol. Home underdogs are the promoted side, Levante, in the Valencia region, Comunitat, I believe. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's juiced very heavily to over. Espanyol have been really great to me and my family, my patreon.com/real_Warner subscribers, but they're now favorites on the road, and that's really hard for me to kind of compute. I certainly leaned the home underdog. I guess I lean under, but I'm not really sure that I feel that strongly about it, and it's lower than I made it. So I think we're going to need to see a move before I want to get involved. Then we'll move to Monday. Like I said, a bridged La Liga card here, as we choosing not to really go through the Supercopa de España because I'm behind and have not really prepared for it. But Celta, a pick'em right now on the road at Sevilla. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's used very heavily to under. So This one might hit 2.25. Sevilla's defense has not been great for years, but their offense has been lacking too. Celta Vigo is really, they made a Europa League run despite fighting relegation every season, seemingly. And a lot of that is because they are, I guess, maybe not as talented as they have been in the past, but I just really think they know what they're doing, which is hard to say and doesn't happen a lot with clubs like that. So big run for them, of course. And I think Pick'em is not a lot for me to do for that one. But I do think that Sevilla is probably someone I'd like to be against. So I'll wait to see if this number climbs and probably lean to under 2.5, though it's not a strong lean at the number. It's just bigger than I made it. So voila. For my best bet nominee from Spain, I think the Alaves under 2.5 is the most interesting to me, just because I know that Villarreal, they're the better team. They're a 1-goal favorite, but I'm not really sure that they're going to go all out to score goals because they really want the other teams to possess the ball, and Alaves are going to let pretty much time elapse by controlling the ball as much as they can. So under 2.5, my biggest interest in that matchup. Move now to Italian Serie A, and then we'll go to the German Bundesliga and then wrap this up. We'll start with Como hosting Bologna. Currently, Como, a 0.5 goal favorite right now at home, which I think reflects the general belief in Italian clubs, newly promoted sides like Como that have spent a lot of money on their sides. I don't know that I necessarily am a believer, though, and it's much bigger favorite than I made it. So I'm certainly a Bologna leaner at this point. Total in this one is 2.25, and it is juiced very heavily to over. I could see goals here, but Como haven't really been scoring much, so I'm not as concerned about it, I must say. I think at this point, I'm looking to be against them really until the market corrects, but it hasn't, and it's the second year now, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Give me Bologna. Very interested in that road team at 8 a.m. Central Time, though they have been playing a lot of big games lately, playing Inter multiple times in like a 2-week span. But I'm cool with it at this point. Udinese, 0.5 goal favorites to Pisa right now with most of the juice on the home team. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's juiced very heavily to under. That reflects Pisa's defense and ability to score goals pretty much. It's also at 8 a.m. Central Time here in the United States. I think bigger interest for me there because I don't want to play a road underdog that can't score. I want them to remain competitive to keep that under and a clean sheet potentially as long as possible. We'll move next to Roma hosting Sassuolo. Currently Roma 1-goal favorites right now at home. Juice is split both ways, so no real indicator about whether this one's going to move. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's used very heavily to under. Now that doesn't really reflect who the Roma manager is, but it does reflect kind of what we've seen from them so far this season. The push on one is available, and I like it, so I'm leaning to Sassuolo at this point, and we'll see what happens with movement to get interested in the total. To the nightcap on Saturday, Atalanta, 1-goal favorites with all the juice right now on Torino, who are a visitor. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced all the way to over. So what does that say about where this number is? I mean, I don't trust Torino to score any goals, but Atalanta has been getting a lot of respect from the marketplace in Italy lately, and that's something I'm choosing to remind myself of as I'm going over this matchup. The push on one is nice, but it's what I made it, so I don't see a lot of value there. Biggest interest for me is under 2.5 because I just am continually betting against Torino scoring goals. Moving to Sunday, Lecce hosting Parma. Currently Lecce a pick'em. All the juice right now on the home team. Pick'em is a pretty nice price, though. We'll see if this moves to a quarter before kickoff. Total is 2 in this one, juiced equally both ways, -110. So not a lot of indicator where that will go. Lean to under with any Parma game, any Lecce match. So very interested, especially in the 5:30 a.m. lunchtime kickoff in Italia. Move next to Fiorentina, 0.5 goal underdog at home to AC Milan with all the juice on Fiorentina after an incredibly bad start to the season. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under. So I don't know really what to do with Fiorentina at this point. Yes, I guess things have stabilized a little bit. They changed managers, all those sort of things, but that's not really a good indicator. The price is bigger on the home team than I expected, so I guess I'll lean to the home underdog because I love those. Move next to Verona. They're hosting Lazio. Currently, Verona, a 0.25 goal underdog at home with a little bit more juice on the home team. Total in this one is 2, and it's juiced very heavily to over. Not very heavily, more heavily. There's more juice on the over, I guess is the best way to put it. It's lower than I made it, but I'm forever leaning unders with Verona, and I do like them at home. So probably biggest interest for me is the home underdog there. Let's go one more match on Sunday. We got one on Monday, or 2 on Monday, excuse me, and then we'll move along. Inter, a 3/4 goal favorite right now, a little bit more juice on Napoli away, which feels very large. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's juiced very heavily to over. So I don't see a lot of goals in Napoli matches. I think Conte is going to be as defensive as possible. trying to make up ground in the Scudetto race. Inter have been the best club in Italy for a long time, but this price is large. It's steep, and I'm very interested in road underdog and under. Moving to Monday, we have Genoa hosting Cagliari. Currently, Genoa, a half of a goal favorite with a ton of juice right now on the road team Cagliari, as they're playing a little bit better football as of late. Total this one is 2, and it's a lot lower than I made it. But I think you probably got to take Cagliari in their road defense and just general interest in playing defense as something to look at in an early start on Monday afternoon. Move last but not least, the Cremonese, a 1 3/4 goal underdog on the road at Juventus, which is monstrously high. Total is 2 3/4 in this one, juice more to the over. So clearly Italy thinks that Juve has figured it out. They're going to score some goals. I am not a believer in that. It's possible, but I'll take the other side considering it's been years and years and years, and we've not seen that at all from Juventus. For the Saturday, or actually, excuse me, for the best bet portion of this Saturday portion of the Serie A Italian card, I think Bologna half a goal underdog is the biggest one for me. They've been playing really well. I think they're better than Como, and I think the half of a goal, a road draw, a road result, I think they could even win. So I'm very interested in that side. Last but not least, we get the German Bundesliga, then get out of here with an ultimate best bet. We'll start on the big onslaught of matches, especially after Germany took a long, long break for Christmas, as they do every year. We'll start with Werder Bremen hosting TSG Hoffenheim. Currently, Werder a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total in this one, it is 3, and it's used pretty heavily to under right now, which I think reflects kind of how I expected this game to go. I do think there's some value on under, especially with that push on 3. So that's my biggest interest for right now. Don't know that I want much to do with Werder Bremen. I just think Hoffenheim have been playing great so far this season. We'll see if the break potentially, I guess, stifled some of that momentum. Move next to Sport Club Freiburg hosting Hamburg SV. SSV. Currently, Freiburg a 3/4 goal favor right now. All the juice on Hamburg on the road, potentially falling to that half I just mentioned. Total in this one is 2 3/4, juiced very heavily to under. And we saw Hamburg, or I was basically backing them as a dead under team for a while, and that was interesting. But they've scored some goals as of late. They're going to Freiburg, which is a tough place to play. But Freiburg, I don't know. I mean, their results are always there, it seems. Julian Schuster taking over from a club legend has worked out fairly well. I think I'm more interested if I get a +1, which doesn't look like we'll have. I think I'm more interested in under in that matchup. Moving next, then Pauli hosting RB Leipzig. Currently, Pauli a half of a goal underdog with more juice on the home team. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced to the over. Leipzig are terrifying to me. They've rebuilt. It's gone really well. Jan Diamonde is playing in AFCON right now with Ivory Coast, so he won't be available, and that's a pretty big loss. I just don't trust St. Pauli to score. I think only interest for me is under, and it's below the number that I made it. So I'll just put that as a lean. Mainz 05, then visit, FC Union Berlin. Currently, Union, a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice right now, and looking like that's more moving toward a half, which is pretty much where I split this number. Total in this one is 2 1/4, and it is juiced more to the under, which shows a tiny total in the Bundesliga, which is somehow getting bet under, which it's deserved. Mainz have tried to out-effort teams for a while, and it's been a really tough season for them to do that, and they won't out-effort Union Berlin, so only under is the interest for me there. Next, in this early, I guess, Spieltag or early portion of Saturday, where most of the matches are played in Germany, we have FC Köln on the road at Heidenheim, and Köln are a favorite, which I'm a bit surprised by, though all the juice is currently on on FCH. Whatever, I don't know German. The total in this one's 2 3/4, and it's below the key number of 3 that I was looking for, which is surprising me a little bit. I'm way off in this number. Clearly, the market likes Cologne, but I'm not really sure I'm a believer in that. And I think I like actually over, which I know my guy Joe Dollar, longtime Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/realunderscore_G-Warner. He's a huge believer that he's going to convince me to play overs from time to time. That might be the best one that I've seen in a while. To the Topspiel, the biggest matchup in Germany this weekend. We Bayer Leverkusen, a half of a goal favorite at home to Stuttgart. I ended up landing on a quarter of a goal, but would have made it juiced based on my numbers. Total in this one is 3 1/4, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. I like Stuttgart. I think they're very talented. I love their manager. I love what they've done. This is a tough test for them, especially coming out of a break, but maybe that's better for the underdog. And the total a little bit lower, which might mean there's a little bit more value on underdog, though above 3, there probably isn't a lot. Moving to Sunday, and then we'll get the ultimate best bet and then wrap this baby up. Borussia Mönchengladbach, they are a half a goal favorite right now at home to FC Augsburg. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's used very heavily to over. Size a little bit smaller than I made it. Total is a little bit smaller than I made it. Maybe this is expected to be a competitive matchup. I think I needed to see it from FC before I believe it. Last but not least, Bayern München. They are hosting VfL Wolfsburg in a gigantic spread. 2.5 point or goal favorites right now are Bayern München. All the juice right now on the home team, so potentially climbing 2 3/4. As for the total in this one, it's gigantic, 4 1/4, juice more to the under. I don't know. There's a lot for me in that one. I gotta say, I'm not sure there's a lot for me on Sunday in the German Bundesliga, unfortunately. Time for the ultimate best bet. Got to nominate a Germany club, and then getting over to the Need for Seeds College Basketball Podcast, coming on to the coming off pregame.com onto this YouTube channel at the real_G Warner on the Betting the Pitch Apple Podcast and on Spotify, and getting some reels out there as well at the real_G Warner on Instagram, at the real_G Warner for shorts on YouTube. For the best bet in Germany, I'm going to go with FC Heidenheim quarter goal underdog at home. I got to do some digging on why they're a home dog. I know they probably should be based on who they are, but Cologne as a road favorite feels very expensive to me, and I like going against expensive road favorites, in my humble opinion. So just plug the Need for Seeds College Basketball Podcast, re-debuting on the Betting Pitch Podcast Network tonight. About to record it, about to hop off this and get on there. But for my best bet, ultimate best bet on this episode, we are 15-9-2, 63% year to date. From England, I like Sunderland under 2 1/4 goals in the FA Cup. La Liga in Spain, I like Alaves under 2.5 goals. In Serie A in Italy, I like Bologna, half a goal underdog. And the German Bundesliga, I like Heidenheim, a quarter goal underdog at home. But I'm staying where the bread has been buttered, the money has been made. Let's go under 2 1/4 goals. Everton hosting Sunderland in this first day edition, third round probably of the FA Cup, but the first time the Premier League sides get in it. Let's see a low-scoring matchup with hopefully some decent teams, decent lineups, or maybe all the stud offensive attackers potentially leaving out of the lineup.
Recording stopped.